Yeah. Yeah, it's over Skype and call in is being recorded too. So, okay. Very good. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and start on time this morning. So, good morning, everybody. That was great. Lots of energy. Everybody responded. It's terrible when you stand up here and say good morning and it's crickets. So, not this group. That's awesome. So, I'm going to tee up today's discussion. I just want to kind of set the table for what we're going to talk about today and who's going to talk to you. So, the first person who's going to address the group today is Carrie Weiss. And I think Carrie's going to talk to us about some of the amazing accomplishments we've had here in recent months. So Carrie will do an awesome job with that. Then Kyle from our finance and accounting team is going to talk a little bit about some of our financial results. Imagine that. He's built this really cool tool. He's going to preview that a little bit. And then he's also going to talk about STI, which is our bonus program, to give an update on where we are with that. And then we've got Mika and Alicia, who are going to do a little bit of award and recognition work for us this morning. So that will be awesome. And then finally, I'm in the fourth batting position, so I'll bat cleanup, and I'm going to keep that a surprise for now. How about that? Keep you here. Hey, one thing, if you saw on your chairs, did everybody see this on your chairs? This is a flu kit, because we care about all of you. So, take that with you and use it. And if you haven't gotten a flu shot yet, I know I saw a note go out yesterday, the day before, about how we're going to have flu shots here. So get your flu shot. I'm hearing that as every year the strains change, and we want all of you to be healthy and at your best. So take advantage of that. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it to Carrie Weiss. Carrie?
Thank you, Steve. Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all here this morning. My name is Carrie Weiss. I'm one of the Senior Managers of Client Success, and I get the privilege today of sharing with you how we're doing in our corporate commitments and our goals for 2018. And as I prepared for this with Jeremy, thank you, Jeremy, I got really excited because we're doing really, really good so far. And even before I get started, I think we should clap. We should have some applause. So please. Good job. So, okay. So if you recall, back in the fourth quarter of 2017, our senior leadership announced our 5 commitments for 2018. And those commitments, I'm going to read to you because they're very important. Materially enhance member experience, raise the level of employee engagement. Yes. Thank you, Sherry. Increase broker-employer loyalty, improve operational effectiveness, and establish process for innovation. Those are some pretty hefty goals or commitments for HMA. In addition to that, all of us decided that we were going to complete 86 projects, tasks, initiatives throughout the year to support the commitments. That's a lot. So before I go further, thank you for your hard work and your commitment, because we are a tenacious group. We challenge one another, and we said we're going to do 86. So that's where we started the year. Well, our senior leadership has been watching us all year, and they've been watching our progress, and they've been very pleased with us. We established a Trello board at the beginning of the year, and that is a tool that our senior leadership uses to see how we're doing. They look at all of our goals. They determine whether or not we should continue on the same path or we should make changes. And we do make changes periodically because we're nimble and we are listening to the marketplace. So we have made some changes throughout the year. We started with 86 commitments. We have completed 35 already. Huge commitments. Yes. Good job. There are 30 in progress. It seems like a lot. If you step back and look at each of the 30 commitments, they're all commitments that are in progress, and most of them are slated to be completed by the end of the year. So that's pretty good. Because we're nimble, we decided to defer 21 projects for later on, maybe 2019. Maybe we decided they're not as important as other projects. And we added 4 new projects for the year. When I step back and I look at the goals for client success, one of the goals that I'm really proud of so far with our progress is member or employer client engagement. And the reason I'm so proud of our progress on that is because if you go to the client success area, we're never there. We're with clients, we're with brokers, we're traveling, we're at finalist meetings. We have throughout this year escalated our relationships with our clients and our brokers. We have a greater level of trust. We know them better. We've created personal relationships. And as a result, you can see how well we're doing in our retention and our sales. So there are some tangible evidence that what we're doing is really impacting our success. I have a question for you. When you think about the goals that you've established this year for your areas, what are you most proud of? Heather.
Sales has sold over 11,000 new employees and we're 159% full.
Awesome. I can't clap because I have the microphone. Others. What are you most proud of so far? Albert.
Customer care has added over the last year like 20-something employees.
That's awesome.
And Laura's changed how we bring them on and into the organization. So I'm really proud of that.
Huge. Well done. Well done. Anyone else? Mika.
I kind of inherited it, but the client intent form, I think that's going to really assist us. Oh my God. For me, it's the client intent form, even though I inherited that piece. I think it's going to be really good for renewals to make sure that we are capturing everything and that the system's programmed correctly and we're serving our clients better.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? Lori.
I'm really proud of the work that we've done where we are now at 97% of our claims being processed within 14 days. So
Excellent. 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 Anyone else before I wrap up?
Well, I'm proud of our finance team for our cost savings initiatives, especially Wells Fargo and I'm sure other ones coming up. So I'm proud of that.
That's great. Did everyone hear that? Did everyone hear Yuri? Okay. All right. So, yes. Oh, Jen.
Before the end of the year, we've already completed 19 file enroll implementations.
Yes.
We have a total of 20. We have at least several more ready to be done by the end of the year.
That's huge. Yes. This is fun. Is there any? Keep going. All right, I'll wrap up. The last slide today is to give you an all-out view of our 5 commitments and how we're doing so far this year. And you will see that we're making tremendous progress in every single category. Great job for everybody. I want to thank all of you on behalf of HMA for your hard work and dedication. It does not go unnoticed. Our clients, our brokers, our competitors are noticing that we're doing something different. And it's because of the work that every single person on our team here within HMA is doing every day. So I want to thank you for that. And next, Kyle.
All right, Kyle.
So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kyle. I've been working at HMA for about a year. And in that time, we have worked on a few projects, but this is one of them. It's basically a budget reporting tool that we actually leverage the skills of one of our interns to build as well. But it basically puts all of our financials into a easy to understand and dynamic view. There's plenty of tabs that get into pretty deep detail and show you different views so that you can analyze your financials. But I'm mainly going to focus on this front tab. So what we're seeing here is 4 core measures that we use to track financial performance. Starting from the top is revenue. We've mentioned it a couple times today already, but we've sold 159% more than our target sales, and we have 99% retention. So what that is equated to is year to date, we have about $1 million more in revenue than, oh, sorry, Mike's. All right, I'm going to bring it up. Sorry about that for those that didn't hear. So what I was saying was that we are about $1 million more in revenue than we had anticipated by this time in the year. So round of applause for that. And as we know, to make money, you have to spend money. So revenue isn't free. So as you can see here, we're a little bit on overspend in the expense categories, but that's because HMA is investing in the business to make it more scalable. So below here is pre-tax, so it's basically your revenue minus your expenses, and then the margin takes that pre-tax and divides it by the revenue to give you a measure of profitability. So that's the tool that we have in Power BI. Let me switch back to. Can you guys hear me now? All right. So you might be asking yourself, what does that mean for me? Well, HMA has a program. It's called Short-Term Incentives Program. It's basically a profit-sharing program. And the commitments we set prior to the start of the year are tracked throughout the year. And depending on how we perform against those commitments is how much that bonus pays out. And I think it's in the second week of March, if I'm not mistaken. So this is how we're tracking for the commitments in the third quarter. So the first metric is membership. Is it not showing? Well, I'll just talk. It's fine. For the first one is membership. It's about 25% of the entire STI calculation. We are currently serving about 75,000 employees, so we're well into the max on this target. I shouldn't clap out the mic. The second measure, which is worth about 20% of the total STI, is revenue. What I showed you before was a year to date for August. We haven't quite closed September yet, but we project that we'll probably end the year with about 40 million in revenue. So that's, again, is well into the max. The third measure is profit margin. And I think we're showing about 8% right now. We expect some increases in certain spend, so we'll end the year right around 6%, which puts us above target, which is still a good spot to be. This fourth measure is related to Cambia's in-house stop-loss product, and it depends on how many groups we sell that have that as their stop-loss provider. I think we're going to try to squeeze out about 3 in the end of Q4. We already have 3, so maybe we'll try to squeeze out a few more. So round of applause for that one. We're still above threshold. And the final metric is the goal execution. So prior to the year, we had about 10 initiatives that we had agreed upon. Some of them you may have heard of. One is the CRM project. The second is the enrollment transformation. We reasonably expect to execute on at least 6 of those initiatives and hopefully try to squeeze out more for the end of the year. So this is a 3Q update. We still have a few months left in the year. We're at about 124% out of a possible 150% for STI, which is not a bad place to be. So quick recap. We're on track for strong financial results in 2018, and that's driven by our strong enrollment growth. STI awarded projected at 124% of target, and we're obviously stretching for more. You can see updated versions of this on the Accounting SharePoint site under the budget reporting tool. Awesome. Thank you very much for your time.
Hi, my name is Mika Shepard. I'm the Senior Tech Op Manager, and I have the honor of welcoming and introducing our new employees. So as I call your name, if you could please stand, I'd appreciate that. And if I mispronounce your name, I apologize in advance. So first, we have Patty Benson, who is our Executive Assistant. She's not going to stand. Then we have Sharif Erla, our Senior Software Engineer. In the back. Next, we have Tram Duong, our accounting analyst. Welcome. Next, Kathleen Callahan, Senior Manager, Product Strategy and Marketing. Next, Tony Lee, Reporting Analyst. Then Deidre Hernandez, Manager of Member Services. Then we have Nicole Goff, who's in Florida. And then the next are our customer care advocates. We have Vicki Bartel, Nikki Worley, Christy Black, and Amanda Case. Welcome. Oh, slide, sorry. Got it. Okay, and then for our milestone anniversaries, for 1 year, we have Jen Norton, Nadine Joy, Elise Malloy, Lauren Collins, and I'm going to mispronounce this one, Jana, I won't say the last name, Kyle Norden, Ty Montgomery, Paige Leoning, Megan Berg, Tavar Korodas, Kalijah, I'm just staying there. 5 years, we have Brittany Martins. 10 years, we have Lindsay Harris, Jean Santoy, Jennifer Henderson, and 20 years, we have Orlando. Congratulations.
Good morning, everyone. So I get to announce our Supernovas, which are the peer awards, which you all voted on and had some nominees. I'm also going to announce our winners. So a change in this, we used to only announce the winners, but this time we're also going to recognize our nominees as well. So we have Lucy, who was nominated for Operational Excellence, Bonnie, who was nominated for Member Experience, and Carrie Brose, who was nominated for Broker and Client Relationships. Kyle was our innovation winner with that amazing... he was nominated for that amazing tool we just shared with all of you. So the work on that budget tool really was a great innovative tool for all the managers and all of HMA to use. Our member experience winner was Miracle, and I don't know if she's here today, but I've seen her all around a lot lately, which is probably why she got one of this customer care award winner. So Miracle, if you see her, she is always smiling, and she is one of our key people in helping train the customer care advocates and recruits. Our winner for Operational Excellence another person you'll see zipping around the office is Nate, who is always fixing things. So thank you, Nate, for all of your tech support and always being there for us when we have a million questions for you. And Brianna West. Brianna is always one to share her knowledge, and so she was really nominated for the broker and client relationships for helping get our new account managers ready for finalist presentations, which are very important in our sales process. So thank you, Brianna. And last but not least, engagement. Albert. So after 1 year of just being with us, Albert has been key in training all of our customer care classes. So as he mentioned, being very proud of at least hiring at least 20 new advocates, he has had a hand in making sure that all of them are ready to talk to our members on a daily basis. So thanks, Albert. And now I get to pass this over to our leader. Here you go, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to give you your paperwork there. Thank you. So I have to say, I was sitting here listening to the clapping and the cheering, and this is definitely the most fun town hall I've ever attended in my 4 years at HMA. Today is my 4-year anniversary. And so, and you know, I was containing myself as I think Carrie was asking about like all the awesome things that have happened this year, and I kept turning around and looking at many of you. I see Chris Chambers there. I mean, was it last month or the month before? It's the first time in HMA's history we didn't pay bank fees, right? Seriously, like, but I could go down the aisle and probably point to almost all of you and think about the contributions that you've made. So it's really amazing. And the journey, you know, I reflect on I'm ad-libbing here, by the way. I reflect on my 4-year anniversary, and when I started, we were a $30 million company. So where did you say we're going to end the year? $40 million. We'll be a $40 million company when we end this year. So it really speaks to the work that everybody in this room has done to continue to make improvements at HMA. So it's incredibly exciting. And another time I'll actually go through that exercise where I point at each of you and talk about the awesome things all of you did. So in any case, let me see. Is this arrows? Or spacebar? All right. So today, I get to talk to you about a topic that I'm incredibly excited to talk about, and everybody's going to go right to the reading. I knew I shouldn't have put the slide up, so that was a major fail on my part, but that's okay. I'll own it, and that's important to understand here in a minute. I think one of the things that we have put the organization through massive change, right? Yeah, there's not a single person I haven't talked to that feels that almost every day. And I think the reality of it was really necessary. And it's going to continue to be necessary as we look forward because healthcare is incredibly dynamic. The marketplace has never been more competitive than it is today. And so one of the things that we're asking all of you to do is not only be engaged employees as one of our 5 commitments this year, but to really have a hand in helping us shape what we want HMA to be. When I joined HMA, or when I was interviewing at HMA and I was talking to people, you know, the one word that came through a lot was family. And then people would kind of pull me aside and somebody would be like, it's a little dysfunctional though. Like the technology doesn't work. I mean, I don't mean that like to be mean, but seriously, like people would pull me aside. There's lots of silos. There were all these things. So it was the thing that, you know, I've been wanting for us to do over the last 4 years is really put a stake in the ground around our culture. Right? Really to say, okay, there's a jumping off point, and that jumping off point is October 4th, 2018. You know, and the reason why that's important is because a culture cycle begins with the establishment and communication of a vision and values, right? That everybody can attach to and that we can start to use to govern the organization. Why is that important? Well, any study you read, I was reading one this morning, a Harvard Business Review study, talks about companies that have outstanding cultures are more successful on many levels, whether it's profitable growth, whether it's retention of clients, whether it's client satisfaction, whether it's employee engagement. So there's about 8 different dimensions that get measured. And undoubtedly, every single study you read says a company that has a strong, clear culture where everybody understands the values, they win more in the marketplace. So that's the goal here. That's why what we're talking about here this morning is really, really important. Does it make sense? All right. So today, as I talk about this, I usually don't talk with notes, but this is so important. I've got notes here. So the goal today is this. I'm going to step you through these kind of quickly. I'm going to frankly focus on the values more so than the rest of this. But we've talked to about 40 of our employees. We have, 199, I think, full-time equivalents this month. Megan's going, yes. So, that puts us at we've about 20% of you have personally participated in this process of working through what should our vision be? What should our mission be? What should our values be? So if you think this is an exercise that, I've done in a back room or Sherry's done in a back room, it's actually quite the opposite. We had an awesome meeting a couple weeks ago with a number of you who had lots to say about this. So much so that it actually made us step back and think about our vision statement, our mission statement. So in any case, so here's really the charge today. And this is what I want all of you to take away. All right? Your charge is we're going to share this after the meeting with all of you. And in the next week, I'd like you to come visit with me or Sherry and let us know what you think. Right? Because the goal is once we lock this, we're not looking back. It's all looking forward. Once it's locked, we all own it. You notice that's one of the values. We all own it. Nobody can say, I didn't have a chance to weigh in. I don't believe. No, actually, that's when it shifts to the fun stuff. That's when it shifts to us living the values every day and then really governing our organization from hire to retire. All across the spectrum, right? From hire to retire, having worked in an organization before with really clear, strong values prior to coming to HMA, it was awesome because I would stand in a venue like this and I might say something and somebody go, Steve, I have a question. Didn't you just violate one of our values? Isn't that contrary to one of our values? And so there's this tension. It's a really healthy tension that gets built into organizations. So that's the goal. So let me talk about I'm going to come back to the left side of the page. I'm really going to focus on the right side of the page. So values. There's 5 values that we're suggesting really ought to be the ones, again, that kind of govern our behavior from hire to retire. First one is people first. This one is really simple. It's about treating people the way you want to be treated. It's about seeing people and engaging with people and supporting people, right? So for me, it's really important when I say hi to Natalia that I get a hi back and I get some engagement and I learn about we meet later today and I learn about what's happening in care management. Aren't we meeting later today? Hear about care management? I mean, seriously, we want engaged employees. That's not a plant. This is real, but we want engaged employees. So part of it is, having a people first environment where you can work with anybody in the organization. Titles don't matter, roles don't matter. It's more about the substance and it's more about the engagement. The second element on people first is making sure that we continually challenge ourselves, that we have the right people with the right skills, that as we continue to build the business, that we've got the right people on the team. So people first has those two dimensions. Make sense? All right. Second one is around working courageously. And this is really, I think Kyle's example, this award that he got around innovation, Kyle took a chance. Kyle grabbed, I think it was Sang Ho, was he our intern? 2 of them huddled and said, there's this massive need I've heard around really understanding our financials and our budget better. And there wasn't a whole lot of setup. It was like, he said, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to get it done. And he took a risk, right? It wasn't like, well, I'm going to go ask permission. It was, I hear the need, boom, and we're going to go get this done. And he presented that to us about a month ago. What did I say? Do you remember? I think I said I was blown away, but I probably said that too. I was blown away. I was like, this is awesome. What you've created is something really special. And actually what I did say is I said, now we need to learn to win together, because we shouldn't just have that capability housed in finance and accounting. I want it in enrollment, and I want it in client success, and I want it across the business. So how do we do that to win together? That's what I said. But the goal here is work courageously, take risk, be brave, stand out, but all the while being yourself. Be true to yourself, be who you are. The third one is being extraordinary. And this one is really tough, I think. It's really tough, but when we do this, it's going to like take the lid off this place. So it's about being at your best every day. It's hard to be at your best every day. As your leader of the organization, I have a hard time. But I know when I walk through the door that I have to be at my best. Because if I'm not at my best, how can any of you be at your best? If I engage with you, and Amruta and I talked about this the other day, right? I have to be at my best. But the opportunity that's in front of us is to help each other be at their best. And to know that every day you really can't be at your best. And sometimes that's okay, but you pick up the slack for your teammates, right? So I'd say the other thing here is, as we think about this, is we have lots of differing points of view across the organization, and we're really creating a diverse organization, which to me has made us so much stronger in the last 24 months. Our pace and our capabilities, that's another thing that we want to embrace around being extraordinary. Make sense? So next one here is own it. I've said this 2 or 3 times already. And I think when we talk about commitments, you don't hear us talk about goals. You hear us talk about commitments. We made a conscious decision last year to say, we want everybody to have commitments. Because a goal is a goal. I can miss my goal, but if I have a commitment to Sherry, I can't miss my commitment. Like I committed to her. Now we may defer things, as Carrie said, because business situations change, the climate changes, something happens. But when I make a commitment to Sherry, I got to keep my commitment because she's my teammate, right? I don't let my teammates down. So this is all about being accountable. This one's really important in terms of admitting and learning from mistakes. And one of the things I love most about HMA is we always do the right thing. Check that. We always try to do the right thing. We're getting better at always doing the right thing. You think about Lori's 97% in 14 days. That's an amazing result. But this is about accountability. If you ask me the question of, what was one of the weakest links 4 years ago when I got to HMA, this was it. Accountability was really weak. And it created the siloing. It created some of those things. So we want all of you to own a storefront. I want Paige to own a storefront, right? I want her to own that informatics storefront. I want Melinda to own her, account management storefront. I want Randy to own the implementation storefront. And if everybody comes in every day and says, I have this little storefront and I need to run the best business possible, that kind of changes your mindset a little bit, right? If I come in and I'm running my own store, if Jen's running our store on file and roll and that thing isn't working, well, that store's not going to stay in business very long. However, if I come in every day and I own it, it plays right into this next one, which is winning together. None of this matters. Not a single one of these matters unless we win together. And this is still one where we have a lot of headroom. We're still not winning together enough. So the challenge to all of us and why we thought this was important, if we can, we're not a large organization with 200 employees. So when people told me we were very siloed when I got here, I couldn't believe it. But I've seen it in action, and I think we've been getting better, and we've done a lot of things to break it down. So the idea here is not only do we have everybody's back, and not only do we care for each other, treat each other with respect the way we want to be treated, but when one wins, we all win. We win together. We're in it to win it, but we're in it to win it together, right? And so you can see how some of these start to support each other. They fit together. They become a fabric, a tapestry, if you will. So those are the values in action. I'm going to touch on these real quick. So vision, we wanted to come up with a vision which was something that, we want to be the ones when somebody says you can't do it, it's not possible. We've all been to those meetings, those discussions with brokers or clients. You can't do that. Nobody's doing that. We want to be the ones that say, actually, we're here to prove what's possible. Actually, we're trademarking proving what's possible in healthcare. Haven't heard back from the trademark office yet, but we're trademarking that. The mission, so some of you have heard this notion of be a kick-ass partner and, to be completely transparent and honest, there were a number of our folks that said, hey, I need something bigger. I couldn't attach to that. So, I needed something that was more emotionally, kind of hit me more emotionally. And I didn't feel comfortable in the market with that, right? I kind of liked it because I think all of you have a little chip on your shoulder. I mean, we want to beat the big guys, right? Like we're a little company and we're nimble, but we want to beat the big guys. But we listened and we heard and we kept reshaping this. And where we landed was, let's be an amazing partner because we feel comfortable with that. But it's very clear what it's like to be an amazing partner. When you've worked with an amazing partner. Amazing is not average. Amazing is not setting the bar here, it's here. And the employers are the ones that hire us. They're asking us to create, the word that kept coming up over and over again as we worked on this was flexible. And we do things that other people can't do. And that's why people come to us. So we said, you pull up any TPA website in the country and you see the word flexible. And we're a little different, right? We're the ones with the chip on our shoulders. We're the ones that we're a little different. So let's create distinctive health plans, like special, distinctive. And then finally, at the end of the day, we have so many of you that are touching members day in, day out. And we want to not only improve their physical health, but their overall well-being. And so our goal is to really enrich their lives with the work that we're doing in customer care and care management and across the business. Our goal is that when we touch members, as we continue to get better, they feel like that's leading to a healthier outcome, a better outcome for them. So that's the idea around the mission. Finally, on the pillars, this was about really putting stakes in the ground that say, instead of kind of shifting commitments year to year, it's really about, what can be the pillars that kind of, if you imagine a little house, you got the vision, got the roof with the mission, and then we've got our strategic pillars. And the four of those are around maximizing health plan value, so making sure that the employers who work with us expect us to help them save cost on their health plan. But more and more the question is, I want a quality health plan. Nobody says, save me cost and give me a crappy health plan. What they're saying more and more is, am I going to a quality doctor? I want you to tell me. And so we're working on, you'll hear us starting to talk about that here in the next couple months, is we're working on solutions. So when we do a search on a provider, it's not just, is it a low-cost provider? You look in Healthcare Blue Book and you've got your green, yellows, and reds, but they've also got quality statistics that we can start to turn on that does that crosswalk that says they're at a good cost, but they also get great outcomes for Tavar. Like Tavar is going to feel more confident if he goes to one of these doctors. The personal caring simple service is just about the awesome work that we're doing. All of this work, we're changing our telephony that supports our customer care and our care management teams. We're working on the CRM, and that's going to be a constant build so that when our customer care advocates take care of a customer, they're no longer having to drop into QuickLink in the backdrop, right? We're going to remove that and make it easier. So the focus goes from how do I navigate to QuickLink, and that's kind of hard and difficult, to how do I take care of Kyle in the moment? How am I listening for the things that can enrich Kyle's life, right? So that's the idea there. And how can we start to put even more technology that technology enables our folks around? How can we have things like AI and other things that really augment the awesome work that you do? Exemplary partner. This is about starting to shift our mindset. HMA historically, when we come out with product services or we do workflow things, we're very internally focused. So, we're going to make a change in enrollment. I'm picking on Mika because she just happens to be in the front row. We're going to make a change in enrollment, and we make it from the perspective of HMA. We're going to do some work here on invoicing for our clients. We're having conversations now. Go out and sit with the clients knee to knee. How do they receive our invoice? What does it feel like? What do they need? So this is about flipping it 180 and saying, how do we look at it from their view? And let's build it based on their view, and then come back and say, how can we make our workflows work to meet their needs, right? So it's a shift. And then finally, purpose-powered analytics is about, we need analytics and data across all of these elements. We need it across everything we do. We need it to better inform the products and services that we build. We need it to better service our members from a care management and customer care perspective. We need it so we can do a better job in our finance area. We need HR metrics. We call it purpose-powered analytics. Why do you need it? What do you need it for? And how can it make us better? Internally and externally. So this will be a topic that you start to hear us talk a lot about. It's one that I'm personally going to sponsor, because I'm really excited about what this is going to do, kind of to take the lid off of our business. So I've said a lot. I'm checking our time. So let me stop here. I'd love to get just any blink reactions. This is pre-Q&A, by the way. So we're going to do Q&A on everything we talked about today, that Carrie, Mika, Alicia, Kyle. But just any blink reactions, good, bad, or otherwise, in terms of what you heard on the values or any of the other things. Melinda.
I think looking at this is easily obtainable. All of us can do it. We're the 4 value statements. You'll read them and you're thinking, well, that would really apply to me, or it seems kind of, I don't know, hey, if this to me, you can be people first, work courageously, be extraordinary, own it, and win together. Those to me, they're simple. They're easy. We can all do it. It doesn't have to be, it's not complex. It's really kind of your value statement is how you are as a person in your personal life and how you are with your work people. To me, it's very easy to follow and to do.
Okay. Good. Thank you for the feedback. Others? So she said she loves them. No, she said it was simple and easy. I think, Mukesh, her words were, it was simple, it was easy, I could get my head around it. I felt like it was not complicated. I think I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. Other reactions? Yeah, Tiffany. Oh yeah, of course.
That'd be smart.
I just wanted to say that I think it aligns great with what we've had in the past of making it personal and being innovative. So it's a great path to continue on.
What do you think?
Well, hello. Well, having been here as long as I've been here, which is 23 years, this is probably one of the first times that I feel like I can follow something and I'm behind it. I love it.
Not a plant. Okay, so the assignment again is everybody's got a homework assignment. Says we'll get this out to everybody, and then we've got a week vetting period, if you will, to give Sherry and I feedback. And seriously, stop us in the hall, stop by our offices, let us know, and then we'll act on that. Now, there's a whole rollout plan behind how we're going to do this. Lots of personal interactions. There will be permanent posters on the concrete and the walls and we're serious about this, and we're just going to evangelize this until you're sick of hearing it. But more importantly, it's about how we hold each other accountable, because it's, again, we walk in through that door and we got to own all these and we got to live all these, right? So, and again, remember what I said about why do you go through this exercise? Because there's no doubt that our culture has waxed and waned, and we need clarity. And we're on an awesome path. Think about what Heather said about the sales that we've generated this year. We've doubled our growth that we've ever done as a company this year, and our persistency, our retention of clients is at 99%. So those are both amazing, and it's a tribute to the work all of you are doing. So with that, let me see if I don't think I have any more. Let's go to questions. So I'm going to have the crew come up here. Come on up here. They're going to help me with questions here. So let's take questions. And Nate, do you know if we're able to get questions from? Okay. And then Nate has a statement he wants to make, is what I'm being told. Oh, okay, at the end, we'll do that. Okay. All right, so questions. And do you have a mic too back? Oh, he's our mic runner.
Anybody need a mic? Anybody questions?
Yeah.
So, Carl, I really love that tool. How can we tap into that for product? Sorry.
Monty Hall.
So we're currently working on the row-level securities to be able to provide it to everyone across the board. We're not quite there yet, but that'll be, it's right around the corner. So right now it's available to a lot of the managers and obviously the senior leadership team, but we want to make it available, at least that front page and some other ones, to everybody. Awesome.
Thanks. Good question. Thank you. Next question. Okay, where's Nate? Right behind you. We got 2 questions back there. Andrew, I know you have a question. I saw your hand up. Caught you.
So once the week period is over, is there going to be a support team that will include peers from all over the organization that people can go to for help if they're having any problems?
Yeah, the team that met with Sherry and I about 2 weeks ago, they didn't realize they kind of, I think they quasi signed up to be the support team. Right, team? Right? I can see the head shaking. Right? No. Yes. Yeah. I mean, Sherry has built an extensive rollout plan. It's impressive, and I have no doubt that everybody's going to really not only have great clarity around what these are and what it means, and we'll have lots of opportunities to have sessions to talk about it, what it means, what it doesn't mean. So I feel confident about that. Yeah, it's a great question. Andrew's like slumping down behind you now because. Next question.
I sort of feel like I should know this considering my role, but do we capture, when we renew a group for 1/1/2019, do we capture the revenue in 2018? Or is every group we renew in January going to be the revenue we capture in that year?
I'm not sure I totally understand.
What I'm running, how we're going to make up the revenue gap if we're not capturing all of the, like a lot of the 1/1 business in this year, in 2018?
So, well, 2 things. So Brad's question about, I think you were looking at the gap there in terms of the net income, right? That was in the red. Is that what you're referring to? So one of the things that we do I'm looking at Eric, I think we have it every Friday now, is we do what we call a risk and opportunity meeting. And the purpose of that is there's always opportunities out there for us to drive additional revenue. But at the same time, we know that there are risks that pop up every day with clients or projects or whatever. So we carefully, and it's let's take all the opportunities and let's subtract the risk and net that out. And can we get to 449K? I think was up on the, and so we're working on that actively. We don't have it all solved for, but we're working hard to solve for it. Our goal would be to have everything in green before we get to the end of the year, which then that would push the margin up, right? Remember Kyle showed you that we were, I think we were at target and max, we were in between those two. So our goal would be to see what we can do to push it up. The other thing is we'll have some pressure the other way is we're making investments in the back half of the year. You saw Red Card. It's now public knowledge, but we notified Echo that we're terminating that relationship. And so we're moving all of our payments and all of our EOBs, virtual payments, EOBs, et cetera. We're moving all of that over to Red Card, who for years has done a flawless job on our ID cards. In fact, it's great because as of this morning, we even heard from a client who's so sick of Echo, right, Carrie Bros, that it's put us at risk. So it's a good move. right? It's a good move, and we tried to be a good partner, and we were with them for 10 years, and it just didn't work. So we're going a different direction. So we actively manage it, and we have a process of standing review every Friday to say, let's get there. Yeah. Good question. Next question. All right. I'm going to let Nate run. We're going to get you a skateboard, Nate. I think I can't wait to see Nate on a skateboard around the office.
That's a bad idea for the health plan. Just saying.
Interesting. Yes.
This is I'm going to be courageous. This is a little out of left field.
Okay.
But I was thinking one of the things we were focused on today, kind of behind the scenes, was less errors, which would lead to less payouts for clients in terms of us having to apologize, basically. So I'm wondering if we made any progress on that.
Yeah, I think. Where is Jeremy around? He's back there, hiding behind his beard. One of the things that I should have Jeremy talk about this. I mean, will you talk a little bit about the work, the stop loss work that you've kicked off? Would you mind? Because I think that honestly, that's been the most costly kind of leakage from our business over the last couple years. And so, Jeremy, would you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So there's a task force that's put together to really dive into our stop loss process and all the data that right now we have available to us. And there's some significant gaps in having the visualization of all the claims that impact a group's stop loss status. And so right now it's very manual. There have been some misses with certain groups and certain claims that we just don't have tight visibility into. The claim is in-house. We have it. It's in our systems, but we don't have the right tools and the right monitoring systems in place to really usher those claims through end-to-end process. And so we've been spending a lot of time figuring out, okay, what are some early detection, some triggers, some flags that we can put on, not even before we get the claim. If there's when a pre-auth is made on a particular diagnosis code, that is an early detection that something big probably is coming down the line. So let's get visibility into that on the front end and have the monitoring and the milestones and the triggers in place so that when that claim does show up, we have a team ready to usher that through, kind of like a concierge service of, we know it's coming. We have, based on the type of claim and the categorization and prioritization that we're going to put on it, what's the expected touch points, what's the expected level of effort to get that claim in and through and processed appropriately. So there's a lot of discussions as to what kind of tool we're going to be able to build to get that visibility end to end, kind of turning over all the rocks where a claim seems to find a little hiding spot. So we came up with some just this morning. So we're having a kind of a rapid delivery process around stop loss. Kind of two reasons: to shore up the 2018 year-end process, but also looking beyond just this year. How can we build a better mechanism and a monitoring process?
And we should deliver that by when?
Q4 2019 or 2018.
In all seriousness, I think we're actually using this as kind of, I'd call it our first quasi-innovation process, where we're looking to lock people in a room and solve it in 60 days, which is not something historically we've done, like dedicate people to like solving something like this. So that's a great example. There's a bunch of those I could talk about. I think you got to remember the one thing, Camille, I would speak to is, don't forget when Kimberly walked us through, some of you were at Around HMA, it was about a month ago, she walked us through a business system roadmap. If you recall that, some of you recall that. We've been plugging and unplugging old technologies nonstop, right? And we're going to continue doing that. We're trying to get all of the exotic, esoteric file activity and other things that have lived in our system and processes for so long, as much as we can, get that out of our system. Get to the point where we more or less have everything on enterprise-grade business systems, and we've gotten out of, and the challenge is because we've agreed to do certain things over the years and customize and create distinctive health plans, you would think that's really easy. It's harder than you think, right? So, and we have things like Musketeer that are pervasive throughout our whole organization, where you're relying on a 3-person organization to help you with routing and all kinds of other stuff. You start to unpack that, and you're like, wow, how did these Musketeers find their way into every single crevice of HMA? They did it. They're stealth, man. So we're working on it. We're working on it. And it's a question back, or it's an ask back to all of you. The other ask is, you guys are seeing breaks all the time. I learned of one this morning where a report hasn't been running, and we're kind of muscling our way through it. And once we learned of this, we've built a script, and something we've been working on for 9 months we'll solve in 2 weekends. But we didn't know about it. So you got to raise these things to us. You got to tell us, right? If you're sitting there and you're going, hey, there's something that's high risk, and it's one-off, and we have a single point of failure across, we don't want anybody feeling like that. We want you to come forward so we can say, Kimberly, I look at, and now I can pick on Andrew and Jim and some of the folks we brought on. They're awesome talents, and they're solving some of this stuff, right? They look at it, and they're looking at it maybe differently than we have in the past. So raise those things up, because we want to solve them. We can't help if we don't know, right? This is the work courageously point. That's why we think that's an important value. Got to raise those things up and not feel like I'm exposed. Actually, it's like I'm going to get help. So at least we know. Is that okay? Okay. Let's do one more question. Any questions from anybody remote?
One from Skype. One from Nicole Goff asking, is one of the goals for the CRM to add standard operating procedures for the various processes we do within HMA?
Yes, absolutely. And I think Mukesh is hiring somebody to be kind of our super user around CRM. So you'll see a job that's posted out there, so we can, as we continue to build it out, we've got somebody who can see across the business, not just down into care management, or whoever we're going to have using it. So absolutely. And Nicole, by the way, is our employee who sits out in Florida in the offices of Holiday Retirement, which is another innovation that's the first time we've done something like that. So thanks for the question, Nicole. It's a great question. Yeah, Linda, you got to run to Linda. Our skateboard.
I'm curious as to where they stand on a training coordinator.
Yep, so we are doing a little test right now. We have, Natalie, will you raise your hand? Natalie, so Natalie is not an HMA employee. Natalie is a contractor, and Natalie has been working closely with the customer care team to start. We're starting there with how do we start to really codify and create a professional training program. And we also have a learning management system that we can hook it into now. So if you think about what that means, that's huge for HMA. I'll tell you more about that in a second. I'm excited about that. But the idea is to say, let's test and try there. Let's get it right there. And then let's take Natalie or somebody on a road show to every other part of HMA. So when people join HMA, there's professional, standardized training that we can launch. And if you think about it, some of us need all of the same training at the beginning. Like, what's the higher level stuff about HMA that everybody needs to know? But then you're going to go off on a detour into customer care or claims or care management or client services or informatics or wherever you work, finance, accounting. So that's the goal, that's the vision, but she's helping us with customer care. And then the learning management system allows us to house all of this training, and I can deploy it to you virtually. So if you work at home, I can deploy the training to you at home. I can know if you took the course. I can know how well you did on the course. I can send more content to you to continue to train. There's self-guided content. So it's really, compared to where we've been, Linda, it's going to take us, it's a leapfrog move for us, but we're testing and trying here, and then we'll take that across HMA, which is really exciting. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, you guys were super engaged today. What do we ask for? We asked for engagement. So Remember, homework assignment is we got about a week to find Sherry and I and give us feedback. Let's do one more round of applause for these awesome folks. I'm with Carrie. Like, I could have kept that. That could have been our whole town hall. Just go in and hear about the awesome stuff. Thanks for all the work you do, and have a great day. Thanks, everybody. Oh, yeah. Hey, wait. One more second. Nate, your announcement. Go, bud. Before we lose people.
So we just wanted to announce that there was an email sent out last night from Ryan specifying that there is an increase in phishing attempts. So please be very careful. Read where the email is coming from, not just the display name, but the email address as well. And any questions you guys have, please reach out to us at the help desk. Give me a call, 5160-5127. Thank you.